Yep. We're just saying, I think Sebastian Wagner and Juan Mi will be out today.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. Well, Juan Mi is in Venezuela, right?
Argentina.
I think Argentina, Ceph de Argentina. Close.
Yeah, sorry,
Close.
probably better. Yeah, to go there.
Yeah,
South
Venezuela
America.
right now, yeah.
Yeah.
Venezuela would be too good right
It's all the same continent.
now.
They all speak Spanish. Oh, except Brazil.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of Spanish, right? Just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. Could
Kind
have
of,
sent you,
yeah.
Raj. Could have sent you, Sebastian, to speak Spanish, right?
Sorry, what's that?
They could have sent you to speak Spanish as well, right?
Oh, no.
I got to start learning. I've downloaded one of these, language teaching apps on my phone, and I'm gonna try to learn Spanish. So when I visit my team in Spain, I can talk with them. So that's my goal. I'm not sure.
Wow.
I'm not sure how good it's gonna go.
A bit, well, no.
Yeah. I do speak Spanish as a second language. I claim that Portuguese is just Spanish pronounced weird.
Good.
A little different.
And you're pretty proficient in Spanish, Travis, or?
Yeah. I lived in Chile for 2 years, like
Oh,
25 years ago.
Wow. Excellent.
So, yep. Get along.
I imagine though there were times where you're sitting there thinking, trying to remember the word, right? I mean, could be you just sort of lost one, or no? Are you pretty good? You've maintained most of them.
Well, it helps to have a dictionary close by, especially these days.
Yeah.
I don't speak it
For
much
me,
anymore.
for me, it's Google Translate when I travel. You know, it's that works fairly well. You don't get
The
in too
electronic
much
version.
trouble. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. All right. Well, I guess we'll get started. Maybe it'll be a quick meeting. I put a few items on the agenda there. The main topic on my mind is around Rook CI today. Not terribly related to orchestration, but I think relevant to talk about here to some degree. Yeah, last week we did have a meeting. I think it was on Wednesday around Rook CI and testing. Blaine, and Red Hat were there. It was a good discussion around how we want to simplify the Rook CI, how we can push for how to write tests, other test frameworks besides just Golang, Python tests. It's simpler to test the thing end to end. Could be non-core developers who are adding tests and things like that. What would be Stefan, were you there in that meeting? I'm forgetting now.
Pardon?
Were you in the test meeting last week with Blaine and others?
No, unfortunately not.
No. Okay, I was thinking of someone else. That's fine. So, well, the others who were in that meeting aren't here today, so we'll follow up. I don't think there's any imminent action item other than that. Yes, we're working on the CI. And then a couple of more specific things related to that. I do have a PR in progress for making our tests much more green. I spent some time Friday and this morning. I found a few issues related to how the tests are cleaned up. That, yeah, it should turn our tests a lot more green. Right now, or one thing I just found is that the CSI integration tests are causing an issue during cleanup where it prevents future tests from running. So when our full suite runs, or full set of suites runs, like in the master branch, we've been seeing recently that certain versions of Kubernetes where the CSI driver runs are always red. Then, yeah, so I'm working on a fix for that in the finalizer. Some other cleanup in that PR around making sure we're using owner references for RGW MDS and RBD mirroring. Before we were just deleting resources code. Yeah, so I'm excited about this one. Yes, more green. Zeb, I'm sure you'll be excited too.
Yeah, delighted, I guess.
Yeah. And I had also consolidated a couple of tests, just in the interest of buying a little code, but pages like that. And then one more thing. Last week, Jenkins was updated by Adam. And we almost reverted that because this CI was unstable for days. But after updating the AWS Jenkins plugin, now it is stable, and I haven't seen any issues lately. They've been looking good today too. Seb, have you noticed?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of jobs going green, or
Not green yet, but at least the jobs are running, right?
yes, they were, yeah. But just had to restart a few of them. And I wish we could really, well, I know we can't really do this right now because, well, we just reverted the CI upgrade. But yeah, I wish we could just run test min Ceph all the time, because otherwise, when we get lucky, this is passing I don't know, like I don't know, 70% of the time, I guess. But if we just don't do any specific backend, then it's like failing, every two or PR or something, or even more, I guess.
Yeah. So my PR will help with that. I was also thinking along those same lines, though, like if we just run test Ceph min with every PR, and I think we get sufficient test coverage with that, I guess. Maybe in master and release branches, we still run the full combination, but PRs, I think enabling test Ceph min always makes sense. And then we have a test Ceph full if you want to run the full suite.
Yeah, it does. But the thing is that if we do this by default, then other backends will run the Ceph suite by default too. So that's the only drawback.
That every other backend changes run Ceph changes or Ceph tests too.
Yeah, because if we just do this by default, they're gonna run the Ceph test suite at this point. That's why I was hoping my PR could work, but I think I need the CI upgrade to make it working properly.
Oh, right. Well, at least I guess if we make test Ceph min the default, at least, I mean, the Ceph tests are much quicker
Yeah.
for the other storage providers, and they can still use their test HFS tag or whatever backend until we can automate it. Because that's what your PR is trying to do, right? Automate checking.
Yeah, my PR is just checking all the commits and checks for if there is a file that has a Ceph path in it, then we activate Ceph. But yeah, the thing is that the logic might be a little bit complex at this point. Because if we detect, I mean, can't really, there will always be exceptions like, okay, I'm touching the core plus Ceph, so I want to run everything, or I'm touching Ceph and Cassandra, so I want to run both and not only Ceph. So I'm just afraid that this will create or hide errors by running a different suite. So this auto detection has some drawbacks, I think.
Right. So maybe first, if we try just enabling test Ceph min by default,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe it'll just all run fast enough that it'll just be a better default place. And then if we run test Ceph with that tag, we won't run the other providers, at least.
Yeah, right.
We'll still be in that position. Yeah. Okay. I think that's good for CI topic for now. Or anything else? Let's see. And I didn't have anything else in the agenda for today. Other things that people want to bring up?
No, nothing in particular.
Yep.
I just have PRs ready for review. That's it. I'm testing. I'm resuming testing Multus again because well, I was busy on the PRs, and yeah, I'm just having issues running it in a different namespace than default. So I'm looking into this, and I found a bug in the AMD job reporter. So I'm going to send a PR for that because the service account is hard coded. So
In the command reporter?
yeah. So the service account name is always hard-coded. So if you try to run into a different namespace than with Ceph, then the detect version job will just wait because it actually doesn't have the right permissions.
Oh, okay.
So it's a quick fix. I'm setting up here for this.
Right.
I would just have a question. I'm not sure we got a good answer for it, but would be just where are we with the SSH orchestration and how many people are actually working on that? Sage is really pushing for that. Sage is working on it. At one point, I guess Alfredo on our side was working on it. I mean, how is that going, and what do you see, as where do we see delivery of something meaningful from that perspective? I mean, Travis, in your mind, Sebastian, or anyone on the line here?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Noah was working on it, or a little bit here and there before he left. And I think Sage is just the only one working on it right now that I'm aware of. That maybe Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think he is the only one working on it and consult. I think he's just consulting Alfredo from time to time for Python stuff, but yeah, he's the only one.
I thought Alfredo was jumping in and doing more. I wasn't quite sure, but it's just support of that package.
Maybe,
The
but
F3 package that he deals with. Okay.
I don't know, to be honest. But I don't really see the roadmap for the product anyways.
Yeah. So Stefan, how much, from a SUSE perspective, how much are you guys driving that? Do you have a lot of people working on that now, or is it, again, just Sage from your perspective as well?
Well, as far as I know, there are at least 2 people looking at that, but to be honest, I have no clue how much time they are really using for that stuff.
All right, thanks. I'm just trying to gauge where we, if we transition, when we transition, kind of stuff, because we have all the other things we're supporting as well. So it's, we still have a lot of work in those areas. So, but yeah. All right. Well, thank you.
Which transition are you thinking about?
Well, I'm thinking more or less, where do we go with the Ansible orchestration that we started? Where do we go? Rook, we still have a lot of work there from a, Rook orchestration perspective, right? I mean, and where do we transition over to SSH, right? So it's, and I'm sure SUSE has the same concerns as well with, transitioning and moving over as, and do we support all of these things moving forward? I mean, what's that?
Have you checked with Federico just to get his perspective on that topic?
Because we've had the discussions before, and
so what did he say?
I didn't get the clarity that I would have liked.
Okay.
But I'm not sure we will. So with it's I will follow up with him on that because it should be driven from that perspective, and and I've mentioned it to my boss a few times, had those kinds of discussions, and so we'll see where it goes.
Right. It's basically, well, if you're using Kubernetes, well, we've got Rook. If you're not using Kubernetes, then SSH Orchestrator is, I think, what we're saying. If it's not under active development.
But that's a long-term strategy. We have the shorter-term strategies in both sides from the SUSE and the Red Hat perspective and the respective Ansible or DeepSeek, correct? So I mean, we have a mix of all these, and we need to factor that in as well. So
But I thought the Ansible orchestrator was on hold or
I,
canceled with Focus to Rook, but
well, it was put on more or less on hold. I mean, forward. I mean, I've never heard the definitive answer that it's going to be all SSH moving forward. I mean, but that's just me. So I know I've heard different arguments for different things, and I just want to make sure we have that answer moving forward. I mean, it's not it's a longer term thing. It's not short term, so I'm wasting our time. Apologize.
no,
But to
great
me,
question.
it's a pure upstream effort. I don't think we have or we should have any plan to put this downstream, to be honest. But
Which one? SSH?
yeah.
In the long run, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna reiterate this again. This is a stupid idea, and so I thought I've raised my case many times already.
Yeah. We've had this discussion many times, Sebastian. I know that.
So yeah,
Agreed. I mean, anyway, I'll leave it at that. We can have our discussion offline because I'm on the same page as you are, so we can have that discussion.
right.
Yeah. Great.
Okay.
All right. Stefan, anything you wanted to bring up today?
No, thank you.
Okay. Great. Well, I guess we'll call it good then.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah.
Bye. Have a good day.
Talk to you later.